Hello friends, this time I've created a package that lets you query different rows for your tables in Airtable, which is a very popular service to store data like a data grid or like an Excel type of sheets. So this service is Airtable, is a software that you can see on the screen. And to get an API key, if you don't know how to do it, well, you have to go um, to a specific table. For example, this is a test table, and here on your profile icon, on your account icon, you have to click on account, which is going to take you to an account overview. And in the section that says API, you have to click on go to developer hub. This will take you to your dashboard for creating an API key. You have to click on personal access tokens, and here you have to create a new token. You have to enter a name token, a name for your token, for example, Airtable token. And then in the scopes, this is very important, you have to specify what type of operations the API will execute with your data. In this case, you will need the read operations and the write operations for different nodes that I will be creating in the next days. And also you have to click on add a scope because this is which type of tables are going to be accessed by this access token. So we have to click on no, it's on access, add a base, and here you specify which workspaces you are going to access with this token. So I'm going to select all current and future bases in all current and future workspaces, and this is all you need to do to grant your access token the different permissions to use the node on packages. So let's click on create token. You have here a token. You have to copy the token and click on done. So we have here our token. The next thing we have to do is go to our package, which is the one you can see here. I'm going to explain you. Let's first create the key. Let's click on add a new key. Let's select a custom service. The domain is going to be, for example, we can return to Airtable, and let's open the developer docs. Let me click on web API document, and then I'm going to go to list records to copy the main URL for the different API calls. So this is the domain that I'm going to use. We have to use a bearer token. The API key is the key that you copied. It's basically the token that we generate earlier. And for the name, we're going to specify an optional pretty name. For example, Airtable key or something similar. Once you have your token created, go to packages. This is my package to get all the rows. I'm going to explain a little bit how this node works. Well, we have 4 different input options. The first one is the base ID. You can get this base ID when you go to your table. You can see at the top we have an URL like this, and it is basically this first section of the URL that starts with app. This is the set of characters that you're going to copy before the second slash that you can see as part of the URL, this one that we see here. So this is the one that you have to copy. I'm going to copy. Then we have the table ID. The table ID is the second set of characters, which starts with TBL. Is this one that we see here? This one that we see here. Then we can specify the max records that we want to retrieve from the table. This is an optional parameter. And lastly, we have a filter formula, which is basically a formula that we can input, that we can enter, so that we only retrieve the data or the items that match this specific filter formula. This is something from Airtable that you can use to retrieve only the rows that you want in your query. Then, as part of my workflow, I have a JSON builder, which basically takes the parameters, takes all the parameters, the 4 parameters, and it exposes so that we can use it on the next node. Basically, we have every one of the different inputs. We specify which is the input and the key that we want to expose. This the different keys are max records, filter formula, base ID, table ID. And once we have different inputs as a JSON builder, we execute a JSON runner. Basically, this JSON runner consists of different parts. We start here defining that we want to parse the JSON input, which is the JSON builder that we set earlier. This is because we want to extract every one of the different inputs. We specify different variables so that we can work with the variables in the JavaScript file. And this is very important. This step is very important because this is the step that is going to let us convert the special characters from the formula to an encoded version of the formula, which basically let us to query correctly the service and do not have any problem because some of special characters. After that, we define a starting final URL, which is the endpoint that the documentation says with the base ID and the table ID. And then we start concatenating different parameters. In first place, if we have a formula encoded, we attach the formula encoded to the final URL. And if not, we do not append anything. And after that, if we have some max rows specified, we set the max rows as part of our URL. And finally, we return the final URL, which is the URL with all the different parameters specified and with the formula encoded. Next, we make an HTTP request. We use the query generator, that is to say, the URL that we obtain from the different inputs, and we specify or we put it as the URL, and the method is a get method. That's all that we need so that this workflow can run. And then in finished, we basically expose the API call result. That is basically the JSON result. Let me put here results.json as the file name. The format is JSON because this is the response that we're receiving from the service. This is very important because we can use this node for different workflows to extract information and process different rows, one or more rows as we need it. So let's test this package. I'm going to run the package. This is the base ID that I showed you earlier with the specified base ID, the table ID, max records. For example, I'm going to specify that I want one record. And very important, specify the key and profiles with your Airtable bearer token. So let's run the package. We can see that we start the workflow and we obtain this one row from the table that we specified. Let me, for example, let's see. If you see here, the status is completed. So I'm going to run again the package, but this time I'm going to specify that the status is completed. So let's run the package. We have here the result with the status completed. You can see the status was completed. Let me try another one. I'm going to return to the documentation. Let's see, for example, status in progress. So let's test status in progress. run package. And you can see that this is the record which has a status in progress, as you can see here. If we specify that we don't want a formula and we don't specify a max records value, we're going to run the package. We see the result, and we can see that we have all the results, which are basically 3 different items which are returned from our table on Airtable. So I hope I hope that this package is useful for you, and I will be creating more notes for this service, which is Airtable. See you in the next video.